Hey friends, you're listening to the None But Curious podcast, a space for nuns, agnostics, and nothing in particulars. We are okay with not knowing, and we're inspired by each other, art, nature, and everyday moments. I'm really happy you're here. Let's go explore. I want to share with you about the hummingbirds that keep visiting my backyard. They just make me happy. But before that, I suppose I will share with you how I got into looking up animal totems or spirit animals in the first place. Goodness, it was almost 20 years ago now that my husband and I, at the time, we were driving over a bridge, and I looked out the water, and I happened to look up, and I saw a bunch of seagulls flying along right above our car, like with the speed of our car. And I didn't think anything of it until a few minutes later when I looked back up. I still saw them flying above us. And we had crossed the bridge and we were still on the road. So they were away from the water now. And I just found that really peculiar. So after we ran our errands, I went home and I looked up the term seagull symbolism. I still remember typing it in. And that's where I discovered the author Ted Andrews. I likely read some stuff online, but I do remember heading off to the bookstore. I went and purchased Animals Speak after reading about the seagulls. And what I learned was that gulls represent communication and how to better read what others are not saying. The interesting thing is that my husband and I had been fighting all week long, and we had an argument in the car that day right before I spotted the birds. So I'm really into animal totems, spirit animals. I appreciate the symbolism and the representations, and I always forget what things mean. So as we go along, I'm sure I will record lots of things about different animals that are crossing my path, whether in my dreams or in this realm, what have you. So back to the hummingbirds, because they make me so happy. So once the weather warmed up, I wanted to get a hummingbird feeder. I haven't had a hummingbird feeder ever. So I got the $5 Walmart special, the little plastic red guy. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure that the first time I saw a hummingbird with my own eyes was when I was in my early 20s, which is weird. That's strange. I do distinctly remember being an adult the first time I saw a hummingbird with my own eyes. And up until I got the hummingbird feeder set up, I have not seen so many hummingbirds. So I pulled my book off my shelf, and I wanted to share with you what Ted Andrews tells me about hummingbirds and how it yet again perfectly integrates with what is going on in my life right now. Pretty accurately, by the way. All right, so there are over 300 species of hummingbirds, and according to Ted Andrews, the letter Shin in the Hebrew language is associated with fire and transformation. And especially this past week or so, I have been repeatedly using phrases with fire in them, like, I'm feeling burned out, I'm burning the candle at both ends, I feel so inflamed. It's all been fire, fire, fire. Not to mention, the smog from the Canadian wildfires has been drifting the past couple of weeks. That's interesting too. Okay, nevertheless, it's the only bird that can fly backwards. And recently I've been working to really explore my past to find my root causes of my frustration and my anxiety. I've been experiencing a lot of anger, fire, lately, and I don't want to anymore. Hummingbirds eat 50 to 60 meals a day. And interestingly enough, I started tracking my food about a month ago, as well as increasing my activity levels even more so. And a few days ago, I decided to purchase a treadmill because I wanted to be able to walk and then maybe run again. I haven't ran in a few years. So I have been really focused on my food and what I've been putting into my body. Hummingbirds are associated with lightness, playfulness, and joy. And let me tell you, every single stinking time I see a hummingbird, I squee. Even right now, just thinking about the little teeny tiny hummingbirds going to the feeder makes me just jump out of my chair. I want to go look outside, but it's dark, so they're probably sleeping. Speaking of sleeping, they can hibernate overnight, and the bird may look like it has died, but it's resting. The reason I am up late recording is because my little one has been going to bed really late and waking up at 3 a.m. most days for a couple of weeks. Don't know if it's sleep regression, if it's because he's teething. I have no idea, but I am constantly overtired, and I will tell you that my sleep and rest is absolutely lacking. But productivity and creativity is off the charts. Maybe. The other interesting thing I read about was that the ruby-throated hummingbird will eat for days and then migrate 2,500 miles or more. 2,500 miles? I can tell you for sure that I will not be hiking up 2,500 miles on my treadmill anytime soon. That would take me a while. But according to Ted Andrews, this acts as a symbol for achieving what seems impossible, and I have been feeling a little downtrodden as of late and feeling like I'm not achieving things that the things that I even want seem impossible. So it's kind of a nice feeling to know that these hummingbirds that are bringing me joy might represent that. Oh, and I just realized that when I opened my business, Hidden Sage, years and years ago, I decorated my room with hummingbirds. I forgot about that. I got those on clearance, I think. It was either at Pier 1 or Bed Bath & Beyond. Both don't exist anymore, do they? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I digress. So hummingbirds essentially represent all of the things that I'm going through as a reminder to rest, as a reminder to find joy in the simple things, which I am every single time I see them. But I'm also delighting in simple things like watching my little eat breakfast or having conversations with my teenagers or simply holding my husband's hand and not saying a word and just being. I do hope, though, that the hummingbird really represents that I will be able to transform out of this whole fire stage. I'm a water sign, astrologically. I don't do well with fire. Anyway, so what animal or creature have you found making an appearance in your world? Maybe in your dreams. Do you have dreams? Do you dream in color? Oh my goodness, we could talk for days about everything. Let me know if any animals or creatures are showing up for you and look them up. Or tell me about them and we can talk about it together and learn about the symbolism of all of the things happening in your world. Hey, thanks for listening. Let's keep this conversation going. Share your stories with our None But Curious Facebook group, or you can also follow our Instagram at None But Curious, or email Candy at nonebutcurious.org if you want to share your ideas and thoughts. Until next time, stay curious.